Have this available in the champagne diamond, the red diamond.
Yeah, no big deal.
No big deal, just a red diamond, by the way, or in that black diamond, in that pendant. $55.90, another customer pick, still 2 flex payments that are available on here, but we took, of course, if you're getting the ring and you want to match it champagne to champagne or black to black, or do a red.
I honestly, it's one of those things that comes out of your mouth and you're not even...
To say a red diamond?
Yeah, and it's like, what, did I just say that? Was that right? Red diamond, among the rarest in the world. And when we think about red, I mean, red gemstones as a whole, to really paint a picture of the rarity of this diamond, what gemstones do you think of? I think of garnet and I think of ruby. That's it.
That's it.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
You know? And sure, there are others, and if I really dedicated myself to it, I could maybe think of a couple more. But red gemstones, Mother Nature just doesn't always create them. To get a diamond, the most iconic, the most beloved gemstone of all time in this color variation is absolutely fantastic. But then also, you've got the black and you've got the champagne, which obviously have the accompanying rings. And you know, I'm a big fan of wearing jewelry in full suites. So if you did get either one of those rings, here's the pendant that matches back to it. And what a steal of a price point.
Well, think about this. You have 9 round of the colored fancy diamonds in the middle, whether you're doing the champagne, the black, or the red. That's in the center of kind of that wavy frame that you're looking at. And then it's lined with 24 round white diamonds.
It's ridiculous in the best way possible.
All the way around it for $55.90. Again, this became a customer pick of people raving about it at $150. So, you know, we took $94 off of it. You can get it home. You can have that rarity. You can have the diamond that possibly nobody you know has.
Right.
Do you have a red diamond? I do not.
Yeah.
So if you were my friend, I would be the first to say, I do not own a red diamond, nor do I have a champagne diamond or a black diamond, because that, if you're thinking about getting them, the price that it would come with.
Diamond jewelry.
Or finding it.
Under $100. Diamond jewelry under $60. I mean, this price point is just staggering. And there's such beautiful pieces of jewelry, make no mistake. By the way, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did not say this. These are not diamond chips, because that happens sometimes where they're like diamond jewelry under $100, and they're these little like fragments, what we call in the jewelry industry commercial grade diamonds, stuff that's not jewelry quality, but it's set in jewelry, and just because it's a diamond, people get excited.
Can't just say that.
These are individually faceted gemstones, so they really carry all of that same, you know, appeal as a solitaire, a diamond solitaire, for example.
That's why I keep Lamar around. He makes sure we keep everything on the uppity up.
Yes.
588873, item number for this clearance. Pendants that we have, $55.90. Champagne, red or black. You cannot go wrong no matter which one that you're choosing. We are doing jewelry.